We're looking at the three great monotheistic religions: Islam, Judaism and Christianity. But something very interesting happened here concerning monotheism. At the Colosseum of Memnon, we saw the two huge monuments of a great pharaoh called Amenhotep III. And he started with monotheism. He called it Atenism. On his barge, his boat, he had the letters written, "The Spirit of Aten." When he died, his son took over. His name was Amenhotep III, and he had a son, and he called him Amenhotep IV. But this son took this religious reform, revolution, whatever you call it, a little further. And he changed his name from Amenhotep IV to Akhenaten, the famous monotheistic king in Egypt. And he left Karnak temple, and he left the priests here at Karnak and Luxor temple and all the religious fraternities. And he built himself a capital between here and Cairo called Akhenaten of Akhenaten, ending at A-T-E-N, which referred to monotheism. There's a creator God who created everything. You cannot reduce him to an image. You can only appreciate him by looking at the nature around you. He was married to the famous Nefertiti. I saw a bust in the Berlin Museum. So this couple practiced this religion, and they enforced, you can say, all of Egypt to start worshipping one God instead of frogs and snakes and whatever. It's not easy to reform, and they had some opposition, but they believed in this one God, and they extended these ideas. So when you look at Amana art, you see the disk, the sun, and out of the sun, beams coming out. And when the beam reaches the nose, there's this sign of Ankh. Ankh means life. So Atenism says that you get life from Aten. You don't have life in yourself. And next to the Ankh beam, there's a hand that says, "I will support you." Now, Aten wrote a hymn called the Hymn of Aten. And this hymn corresponds to a certain Psalms in the Christian's Bible, Psalms 104. 17 lines correspond to this psalm. It's on nature. How God speaks to us through nature. Have you ever discovered God in nature? He is not nature. Pantheism is out. But God teaches us lessons from nature. They had a few very interesting daughters called Mekitaten, Meritaten, Ankensenpaten, Neferuaten, and all the names end at A-T-E-N. They all believed in one God, the Creator God. And when you look at the art, it's so beautiful. For instance, a father holds his babies on his lap, and mother holds the babies on her lap. And they talk to one another and they touch one another. By the way, touching your children is so important. And this comes from the story of Akhenaten and Nefertiti. something happens to a child if you touch them regularly. What I found very interesting in my research, one of the daughters married a king from Ugarit. Ugarit is another interesting subject. And what I like about the story is the fact that monotheism was carried to the empire at Ugarit, the modern Ras Shamra in Syria. Eventually, they were persecuted and they died. And monotheism lasted only a short space of time, say 25 years, and then it ended. But I discovered something fantastic, interesting in the Cairo Museum. We have Tutankhaten and Akhenaten, ending at Aten, showing that they are monotheists. And in the Cairo Museum, they are displayed as monotheists. But while he took over as Pharaoh, he was threatened by the priests here at Luxor, at Karnak, telling them, you change your religion back to polytheism from monotheism, or we will kill you. And in the Karnak temple you can see the statue of the two. But strangely enough, monotheism was carried into their tombs. And today we can look at monotheism in the Cairo Museum. I appreciate the research from Islam, from Judaism, and from Christianity. Instead of opposing one another, let's gather the truth and enjoy the beautiful stories carried by these religions. Abraham, Isaac, Esau, Jacob, Moses. May the Almighty be with you as you read these interesting holy books to bring you closer to the infinite, immortal Creator God.